Conservative leader Erin O'Toole began the final week of campaigning in a suburban Ottawa riding held by the Liberals, but where the Conservatives believe they can win. O'Toole promised a Conservative government would allow Canadians on parental or maternity leave to earn as much as $1,000 a month before they face clawbacks from their employment insurance benefits. O'Toole also promises to expand the Canada Child Benefit to allow expectant parents to collect the benefit starting at the 7th month of pregnancy, rather than at childbirth, to help with the costs of car seats and cribs, and to provide more generous benefits for adoptive parents.
We have a cost of living crisis in Canada right now. We're going to be helping families. We're going to be helping seniors. We're going to be helping Canadians get ahead. The alternative is more debt, higher taxes, and more division with Mr. Trudeau.
The Conservative leader in this final week of campaigning responded to increasing attacks from the Liberals by going personal and negative himself, telling voters not to reward a privileged and selfish leader who no longer deserves his respect.
What would the sunny ways Justin think of the Prime Minister we see today? The one who is clinging to power by dividing the country, fostering fear and division, sowing myth-truths and misinformation wherever he goes.
The NDP leader began the final week of the campaign in Northern Ontario in a riding held by the Conservatives. Jagmeet Singh also took aim at Justin Trudeau. Singh urged voters to consider the cost of the broken promises from the Liberal leader, and he focused on the ongoing problem of boil water advisories on First Nations. Justin Trudeau promised to end all boil water advisories by March of 2021. And while significant progress has been made, there are still 51 long-term boil water advisories in effect in First Nations communities. Jagmeet Singh promised he'll get the job done.
It's because it wasn't a priority for him. It's because he didn't make this something that was top of mind every single day. And I don't know why he didn't care enough to do it. But when I look at the kids that I met that we're going to meet shortly, when you look at their eyes and you meet the community members and you look at them and say, how is it possible that this is our country? You just wouldn't accept that. I don't accept it.
And Singh was pressed about the possible election outcome, with Liberals and Conservatives neck and neck in the polls. Singh was asked if he's willing to prop up Justin Trudeau if the Liberals lose the seat count, but try to hold on to power in a minority parliament.
So for people, what I want them to know is, if they make their decision, I want them to make their decision based on what I'm going to fight for. If you want to see investments in healthcare, if you want to see a universal pharmacare, that's something that appeals to you, vote NDP. If you want to make sure you've got a government that's going to fight for you every step of the way, and it's not going to back down to big polluters, not going to back down to the big telecom, then vote for New Democrats.
The Liberal leader campaigned in British Columbia's Lower Mainland, where so many ridings are in play, and many feature three-way races. On a day when more anti-vaccine protests were held across Canada, Justin Trudeau promised a re-elected Liberal government will make it a criminal offence to obstruct access to any building providing health services, including hospitals, vaccine clinics, testing centres, pharmacies, and abortion clinics. He'd make it a criminal offence to intimidate or threaten any healthcare professionals on duty and protect any business that requires proof of vaccination from legal challenges.
It is not okay that across the country, hospitals are having to put up barricades today to manage the mobs coming their way. It's not okay any day to know that a nurse going into a late shift, crossing a parking lot, might be afraid that there could be someone there to spit on her or shout obscenities at her. That's not okay, and Canadians want to stand up for our healthcare practitioners.
Trudeau then renewed his attacks on Conservative leader Erin O'Toole over vaccinations, gun control, abortion rights, and climate change. Trudeau insists that his attacks are not personal, but based on O'Toole's policy choices.
I'm not impugning his character. I'm not saying he doesn't love his kids. I'm saying he's wrong about how to ensure jobs and prosperity and a protected country for people in the future. But that's what Canadians get to choose. I'm going to let him and his proxies in the anti-vaxxer movement, in the gun lobby, in the anti-choice crowd, continue to attack me. Fine. I'm going to continue to stay focused on Canadians.
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet campaigned in Gaspé. He's accusing the Liberal minister who represents the riding of interfering in the judicial nomination process. Blanchet, too, was asked about where his support would go if voters elect another minority parliament. Blanchet made it clear the Bloc would not form a coalition with any party, but insisted the party that wins the most seats must be given the first opportunity to form a government. And Green Party leader Annamie Paul made a rare trip outside Toronto. She campaigned with candidates in Prince Edward Island. And that's the kind of day it's been. Day 30 of the campaign, 1 week to go before voting day.